Welcome back. October is ADHD Awareness Month, and it's no secret that boys are more often diagnosed with the disorder than girls. And that's because ADHD can present differently for girls. Ellen Engstrom from Grove's Learning Organization is here to talk about how symptoms differ and how parents can best support their kids' learning. Ellen, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so research shows that boys are often diagnosed more than girls. Why is that, or why do you think that is?
Well, boys and girls show symptoms of ADHD in a different way. I'm talking particularly about the hyperactivity part of ADHD. Boys will be, oftentimes their symptoms will be very outward. They'll blurt out things, they'll get out of their seat, need to move around, oftentimes, tap pencils very loudly and things like that. So it's very obvious, and especially to teachers.
It's more of an external
It's more of an external show of the hyperactivity and so on. Girls, on the other hand, may have symptoms of hyperactivity, but it's more subtle. They will oftentimes talk softly to the, constantly to their neighbors and so on. So it's not quite as obvious, and everybody knows girls like to talk to girls in school and so on. They may be in constant movement. They may be in 14 different positions, but always one part of their body is attached to the chair. So it doesn't appear quite as disruptive.
Well, how do you tell the difference between, say, a lack of confidence, as often young girls and boys have, or nervousness, or just fidgetiness, or sugar? How do you tell the difference between them and something serious like ADHD?
Well, you have to, over time, you have to be an observer. And also, as children age, when they're much younger, you're going to see a fair amount of activity and excitement because that's natural for very young children. But as they age and move along in school, the peers may be calmer, more focused, and the child with ADHD is still having trouble with focus, with attention, distractions, and so on.
So it's a matter of being aware of those differences and just asking those questions.
Absolutely.
Well, what happens when a child isn't properly diagnosed?
Well, we know from research that people with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder have difficult outcomes in adulthood. More divorces, underemployment, undereducation, and so on. So it's really important to have a diagnosis and get started on learning how to manage it, because there are a number of tools that for managing ADHD: sleep, exercise, nutrition, maybe medicine, and those are all important. You don't cure ADHD, but you can manage it.
So if a parent possibly suspects that their child might have this, what should they do?
Best thing to do is to go find an assessment, and a person who could assess this would be a pediatrician who works a lot with children who have learning challenges and ADHD, or a child psychologist or a child psychiatrist. Any of those providers can assess a child and provide a diagnosis.
What is the point when ADHD becomes like a serious cognitive issue? Like, is there a point where pharmacology or medicine becomes necessary? What's that line?
That's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Medication is a wonderful tool for a number of people, and you really sort of have to try it. So there are people who work with families who have children with ADHD are very good at figuring that out by sending questionnaires to parents and teachers, and during a medication trial, so that they can answer questions about what the child's behavior is like off medicine and then on medicine. And based on that, you can sort of tell if there's going to be if it's going to
If it's
provide
gonna work,
a
be
treatment
beneficial.
effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ellen, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I know it's a topic a lot of people are interested in and concerned about. So I'm grateful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So you can find out more information about supporting kids with ADHD and the link to Grove's Learning Organization. It's on KARE11.com for you. Thanks again, Ellen.
You bet.